Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I can't believe it, but we are a little more than halfway through the year, which is so crazy to me. So today I wanted to do a fun little get ready with me, and we're gonna talk about what are, in my opinion, the top makeup releases of 2024 so far. If you're new here, hi, my name is Molly. This is my new YouTube channel, The Beauty of It All. I am a Sephora employee and a beauty lover, and if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. But without further ado, I want to just jump right into things today. So let's get started. Starting off with a primer, if you have been watching my channel for a little bit, I don't think you'll be surprised. I have picked the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Water Power Serum for the best primer of 2024. This is a really great product, and I've especially been leaning on it in the summer months. Like, it is getting really humid, and so I need something to help mattify my skin. I've got a little bit of skin prep on today, but I just put this primer in the T-zone mostly, and then I kind of spread it out to the perimeter of my face. This is, like the name suggests, it starts off as a water-based serum, but then it dries down to a really beautiful light powder finish. And it just helps throughout the day to control oil and shine. And the packaging is also just really great. There's just a little push down here that you dispense the product. Really smart. So this has been an awesome addition to my makeup routine this summer. I have to give it up. I personally think that bronzers and contours have been knocking it out of the park this year. I just posted an entire video of my top 5 bronzer and contour new releases of 2024. So I'll link that here so you can check that out. But I would be so remiss if I didn't mention this new Makeup by Mario Sculpting Serum. Brilliant product. The way that I'm going to use it today is just to lightly bronze up my face. So I'm just going to take one pump onto my forehead here. I have the shade light medium, and then I just take this all over the face and also down my neck. But this is just going to help to even out my skin a bit, because the complexion product that I'm going to be using today is slightly lighter than my skin tone right now. So this will help kind of neutralize the skin. This is a beautiful serum that blends so easily into the skin. It's also just a really innovative product. Obviously I just use the pump, but then this also comes with a doe foot applicator, which is so cool. So if you, rather than doing just like a light bronze all over the face, if you want to just sculpt a little bit, you totally have that flexibility with the product as well. Next up for concealer, I'm gonna give it to Cali Ray. This is the Hideaway Color Corrector. Now, if you have watched a video on this before on my channel, you'll know, you can see here, I dropped the bottle. It kind of shattered. It was a little sad. This is an amazing concealer though, but what I will say is I don't know that this is my exact shade match for how the product should be used. And what I mean by that is this concealer is supposed to be kind of a one and done color corrector and concealer. Obviously this is just like a true peach on me, so I use it pretty much strictly as a color corrector. When I dropped this, I hadn't used the product yet, and so I could have returned it at Sephora, but I wanted to like use it up. I know I can make it work, but just know that like when you're buying your shade, you should be looking for one that can be both a color corrector and concealer in one. But this is a concealer that's super hydrating. It feels like a serum concealer. So if you have really dry under eyes, this would be a good one for you to check out. I just like to let this kind of sit on my face for maybe 30 or 60 seconds before I start blending it in, just to like kind of build up some of the concentration, particularly because I will be using it more as a color corrector rather than a concealer. But I'm just gonna take a little angled brush here and just kind of start lightly tapping that in. And again, if you find your kind of perfect shade match, the beauty of this concealer is that it's a one and done. You can color correct and conceal at the same time, which is so helpful. But as I mentioned, I will be putting a concealer on top of this because clearly this is not doing the trick. Also, forgot to mention, this is in the shade Cool Sunrise. Next up, for some concealer to kind of help with this color corrector out, if I were to mention one product out of all of these that I would recommend purchasing for this year, it's this guy right here. This is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Face Essentials palette. I have the shade light to medium. Guys, this palette, it does it all. I posted an entire review of this, swatches, wear test, everything. I'll link it here. This is incredible. You have 4 foundation shades, a bronzer, contour, 4 blush shades, and 2 highlighters. You can truly do an entire face of makeup with this one palette. If you're a makeup artist, this is amazing because you can make custom shades of your blushes, foundations, concealers, whatever. If you travel a lot, this is an amazing product for on the go. This is so versatile, and it is expensive. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's $88. However, I genuinely feel like you get your money's worth with this one. So what I'm gonna do is just make my own little custom concealer. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of this lightest shade here, and then I'm also gonna mix in a bit of this shade as well. I like this for the bright neutral undertones, but I don't want it to be too bright. So that's why I'm gonna mix in a little bit of that guy right there. And then I'm just taking this on a palette, and I'm just gonna kind of mix it on there. I have something exciting to share with you guys. So last weekend, I did my first wedding. I have really been wanting to get more into doing makeup for other people and like working towards being a makeup artist. It's something that I'm super passionate about. I find so much joy in, and I got to assist at my first wedding last weekend, which was such a huge moment. I only did one bridesmaid. I will put a before and after picture here. She looked absolutely, in my opinion, gorgeous. And it was such a fun environment to be a part of. It was like truly a girly swirly day. Listen to the Toast podcast, you know, like all about the girly swirly vibes. Assisted a couple of my coworkers from Sephora who like booked and secured the wedding, but it was just such a fun time. I learned so much and was just so happy with how the makeup turned out, and it meant the world because after the wedding, the gal that I did, she reached out to me and she was like, hey, can you please send me everything that you used? I loved it so much. And like, that was just such an amazing experience to know, like, okay, I didn't just think this looked good, like the client loved it. It was a good experience all around, and it was wonderful. It was so much fun. I used this palette on her, so many other things, but just a really fun experience overall. So this is going to be our concealer for the day. We brightened up the eyes a little bit. This just gives such a beautiful natural finish of complexion. The creams in this are just so easy to blend out. You could use your finger for sure. I always prefer to use like a brush or a tool, but you absolutely could use your fingers with this, and you just get so much customization available to you. Moving on to complexion. So I haven't actually talked about this product on my channel because I've been testing it out for a while now, but for my skin tint complexion today, I'm just gonna be using the Supergoop Protect Tint. This is in the shade 20C. This shade is a little light for me now, so that's kind of, again, why I started with the bronzing drops. But I'm just gonna take a bit of this and start to blend this out with a Real Techniques, just kind of a little buffer brush. This skin tint has surprised me, I'm not gonna lie. When it first launched, I kind of looked at it and I was like, nah, you know, it's another skin tint. But I should have probably known a little better. Supergoop has just really been killing it lately, and this skin tint is no exception. It's great because it has SPF 50, but it's just a really nice lightweight skin tint that gives you kind of just the right amount of coverage to maybe even out skin tone and cover up, you know, a little bit of like redness or maybe discoloration, but it doesn't look too heavy. It's hydrating but not greasy. It's a really nice skin tint. Again, the shade's maybe a little light for me, but I can make it work, and we'll warm up the face with some more bronzer. It's got a pretty like natural finish to it, I would say, maybe a little more dewy, but still just looks really pretty. You can also absolutely use your fingers to blend that in. I do that a lot actually with that one because it's just so easy to manipulate, and it is decently buildable for a skin tint as well, which is nice. Next up, for a budget-friendly option, I have to give it up to Sephora Collection for this. I'm going to be using the Sephora Collection Contour Stick today. This is in the shade light to medium. I mentioned this product again in the bronzer video that I just posted, but this is the most like beautifully pigmented, creamy, blendable contour stick I've used. This is such, like I mentioned, just great pigmentation. I find it's really easy to apply directly to the face, or here I'm just gonna warm it up on my hand and then take some on the back of a brush. But the pigmentation, I can't stop talking about that. It's amazing. and it's super, super easy to blend out onto the skin. I find that whether you're using a brush to apply, or again, if you go in directly with the contour stick, it's just super, super, you know, user-friendly. I think that if you're a beginner to makeup in general, or even contour, this might be a good one to go with. It's gonna be really forgiving. The shades are pretty flexible. I was kind of in between shades 1 and 2, but since it's, you know, this is probably the most tan that I'll be, I did go with the shade number 2. But this just adds some nice dimension to the face without looking too heavy. And just, again, a really great product. And for $14, I mean, it's a really, really good quality product. I'm very impressed with how they did this. This is a win for sure. For the best new blush of 2024, I don't actually have a cream, so I'm gonna go in with a powder right away, which is gonna be totally fine because she packs a punch. I picked the House Labs. This is their Color Fused blush. I have the shade Hibiscus Haze. It's a beautiful pinky mauve color. This is, like I said, pigmented. Like, you don't need a lot of product here. I am just going to start lightly sweeping this across the face, and you'll quickly see how this very beautifully builds up. But what I really like about this is it is pretty forgiving. If you find that you accidentally apply a bit too much, very easy to kind of take a foundation brush and correct a little bit. They launched 2 new shades, I want to say, with this blush, and those are really pretty too. One of them's a really gorgeous, like, kind of nude, like rosy nude. That one's super pretty, but again, very blurring. It goes on super smoothly to the skin. And I don't even feel like I need a cream blush with this. Like, it just goes on so well on its own. And then for powder bronzer, this is such a good new launch for 2024. This is the Armani Luminous Silk Powder Bronzer. I have the shade 90. And I have been obsessing over this. I'm just gonna take a Real Techniques fluffy brush and lightly go over my cream contour here. But this is so, so pretty on the skin. It's, you know, luminous can be a little, I think, intimidating or, you know, off-putting to some people, but it's not glittery, it's not sparkly and shiny. It truly just gives a nice glow to the skin, but it's buildable. It is very, very lightweight. It doesn't look patchy. It's just so, so pretty. And I also really love just taking this on like a eyeshadow brush and working this into the crease a little bit. I've been doing this super, super regularly just to kind of like tie the look together a bit more. For setting my under eyes, the product that I have is not technically new in 2024, but there is a new shade of it in 2024. So it is the Pat McGrath. This is her Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder in the shade Baby Pink. Now, this is a gorgeous powder. I started to feel like my Huda Beauty powder was a little drying under the eye, and so I wanted something that was maybe not quite so mattifying, and this has checked all the boxes for sure. It is a really, really nice, fine, lightweight powder that I don't feel like is drying under the eyes and is maybe a little more buildable under the eyes than the Huda Beauty. So if you're someone that's maybe struggled with that a bit yourself, I would recommend trying this one. It's super, super lightweight. I do feel like I can notice a bit of a difference where my eyes don't crease as much, or even just like the concealer doesn't look as heavy under the eyes as it did with my Huda Beauty. Now, I still like such a fan of that for the rest of my face, but just not so much under the eyes. But this has been an awesome addition to the collection this year. The one thing I don't have that's new is a new mascara. So I'm just gonna pop on classic, no surprise, my Tower 28 Brow Mascara, and I will be right back. All right, pop the mascara on. For brows, I have to give it up to Anastasia Beverly Hills. The best new brow product, in my opinion, of this year is her new Brow Freeze Gel. Now, if you are someone who has used her Brow Freeze Wax and enjoyed that, you might want to check this out. I will say this has a little bit of a learning curve with it. So this is the wand as it comes out. You can see it pulls a lot of product out. You have to make sure and scrape off the excess, otherwise you will put far too much on your brows. Unlike the Brow Freeze Wax, this does give a little bit more, I would say, of like a shinier finish. However, I do think that it has a stronger hold than the Brow Freeze wax. So if you have those really long days, maybe you live in a super humid environment and you just want to know that your brows are going to stay, this is one for sure worth checking out. I do find that I have to let them dry down slightly, but then I do also like to just comb through them once more with a spoolie to make sure that they're evenly separated. And you do have to be conscious of kind of working quickly with this brow product. Unlike the Brow Freeze wax, you don't necessarily have the playtime after applying it like you do with the wax. So the Brow Freeze gel sets down much more quickly, and you will feel like they're a bit more crunchy than with the Brow Freeze wax. So if you're someone that doesn't like a crunchy brow, don't go for this one. If you don't mind a really firm, strong brow hold, this is gonna be your go-to. And I mean, I'm not kidding, like these will not move at all the rest of the day. The hold time is great. It's a great long wear product. I'm just going to extend these a little more into the center of my face here. There we go. But yeah, amazing, strong hold product, but just keep in mind, like you have to work quickly with it and you have to make sure that you take off the excess. Otherwise it's just gonna go crazy all over your face. The last new product I have to talk about today is, of course, a lip, the only thing we're missing right now. I have to give it up to Makeup by Mario. I picked his Super Satin lipsticks for the best new lip product of 2024. I have the shades Soho and Dumbo. Now, Soho is my absolute favorite color of the two that I have. It is a beautiful kind of peachy coral, and then Dumbo is a really pretty like spiced rose, kind of more dusty rose color. I'm gonna go in with coral today. Dumbo is just much more of a fall shade, and I'm just going to line my lips today with Wherever Walnut. This is not new, but it's just what I'm gonna use for a liner. These are one of the, I would say, probably only lipsticks that I can, now I say can, wear alone and not feel like I have to put a gloss on. Now, I still do typically, but only because that's just my personal preference, but I don't feel like I need to with these lipsticks. These are very hydrating for a lipstick. They're a satin lipstick, so that makes sense, but even as I'm wearing this throughout the day, I don't feel like my lips are getting dried out. I do feel like it's a pretty good long wear time as well. Obviously with matte lipsticks, you're gonna get a little bit longer wear time, but these are really quite beautiful. And I mean, just such a pretty shade. It's perfect for spring, summertime, so I've been using this quite a bit. One that I've put on a lot at work too is, I think it's the shade Flatiron. That's a really beautiful nude. If you like nude lipsticks, there's so many good shades in the collection, so I would definitely recommend checking that out. But again, that was the Makeup by Mario Super Satin Lipstick in the shade Soho. Okay guys, this is the final look. This is what I would say is a full face of the best new makeup of 2024. I will make sure and link everything below, but I think this was so fun. I'm excited to see what launches are coming for the rest of the year. Excited to check back in with you guys and see, you know, how those compare to what I've already selected as the best launches of 2024. But if you've grabbed any of these products, let me know how you're liking them. Are they in your tops for the year as well? Are there things that you haven't liked so far that I mentioned today? And how do you feel like it's working for you? I want to know all the things. So comment down below. But again, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please make sure and do so. But as always, my name is Molly, and thank you guys so much for joining me to talk about the beauty of it all. Bye everyone.